SmackDown took place in Berlin, Germany. To start the show off, we saw some shots of the city of Berlin, and then we saw wrestlers arriving at the Uber Arena, which is where the show took place. Randy Orton kicked off the show, fresh off of his return from last week. Of course, Europe loves him. After he welcomes Berlin to SmackDown, he's interrupted by Trick Williams, and I'm just going to say this right now. I'm not that impressed with Trick. It leads to a fight. Randy actually hit a draping DDT onto Trick, but then The Miz jumps Randy from behind. Then he eats an RKO. Randy Orton stands tall, and then Rey Fenix made his entrance as Randy was leaving. Randy actually gave him a fist bump, kind of endorsing him, before Phoenix's match with Trick, who was already in the ring. And they had their match. I'll say it right now, I don't like watching Trick. I think he sucks in the ring. He wasn't too bad tonight. This was better than most of his NXT matches, but I wasn't that into it. Trick won the match actually by grabbing the tights, and I didn't like that. He's so much bigger than Rey Fenix. It would have made more sense just for him to win with a trick shot. Byron Saxton backstage interviewed Julia and Kiana James ahead of Julia's match with Alexa Bliss, which was just announced an hour or two before the show. Julia cut a promo on Alexa Bliss in Japanese, and you really couldn't understand much what she's saying. They had Kiana talk a little, but this was done to promote their match, which I thought should have been built up more. I mean, I like Julia, and of course I love Alexa. I just feel like they could have built this up a little bit better than just randomly announcing it an hour before the show. They recapped the ambulance match from last week's show. Then Byron Saxton backstage interviewed Damian Priest. He wants to pursue the championship next. Then Drew gets in his face, and I'm thinking, oh great, not this fucking feud again. It's ironic that there's a cage match tonight, because remember when they had that cage match on last year during Saturday Night's Main Events, when Jesse Ventura just like completely crapped over the ending, like he was just bashing them, and it was actually pretty funny to hear it. But I really didn't want to see this. Priest left, and then Byron briefly interviewed Drew. Backstage, Alexa Bliss was talking to Charlotte Flair on her phone. Charlotte couldn't make it tonight because of an illness. They explained that she got the flu. There is a viral flu going around, and it's brutal. I had it. That's why I was kind of sick the last couple of weeks. But if Charlotte does have it and it's not at work, I really hope she's okay, because that's awful. And Alexa, she's telling her to drink some fluids to take care of herself. And then Nia Jax and Lash Legend walk in, and they're trying to get Alexa to turn on Charlotte. Alexa tells them off, and you knew right there that they're going to come back and interfere in her match with Julia. Julia was then out next with Kiana James. Unfortunately, she doesn't get a reaction. It's a European crowd. You think, all right, they cheer for everyone. They're always loud. Not a reaction for Julia, and that was disappointing. Then Alexa Bliss comes out to a pop, as she always gets one. And we get our Women's United States Championship match, a match that should have been built up, that shouldn't have just been thrown together at the last minute. We get Julia defending her title that she just won last week against Alexa Bliss. So obviously the fans are behind Alexa. Unfortunately, I got a commercial from Netflix during the match, so I missed what happened on the commercial break. But they didn't give us one for the Trick Williams-Rey Fenix match. I wish I got a commercial during that. But of course, we had to miss the Alexa match because of the stupid Netflix commercial. They're showing us a trailer for Stranger Things that was like released for the November episodes that were released. I don't know. Anyway, the match was alright. Alexa started making a comeback. She went for the Sister Abigail DDT, but Kiana got involved. Alexa hit her, and she punched her and drove her into the ring. And then before that, she actually hit a regular DDT before she attacked Kiana. But then the ref becomes distracted with Kiana. Then Alexa goes to the top rope. She goes to hit the Twisted Bliss, but that's when Lash Legend knocked her off the top. Julia takes advantage and hit the Northern Lights bomb for the win. So Julia retains her Women's United States Championship, as we all knew she would. It's her first defense since winning the title back last week from Chelsea Green. After Julia leaves with Kiana after the match, Lash Legend and Nia Jax mock Alexa Bliss. They get heat here. They hit her, and then I think Nia went to and did her Annihilator move on Alexa. I really don't want this feud to continue. I want to see better things for Alexa Bliss because she's so over. I always say she's like the second most over female star in the company, only behind Rhea Ripley. And I wish they would do more with Alexa. She constantly gets a reaction. And I really don't need to see her and Charlotte feud with Nia Jax and Lash Legend. I really don't care to see that feud anymore. Backstage, Nick Aldis officially welcomed Jordynne Grace to SmackDown. She is on the show. Then Chelsea Green walks in. She complains about not getting a rematch. Then Jordynne called Chelsea a diva, which is what Chelsea is. I mean, she's supposed to be a diva in the women's era. Alba Fire then gets in Jordynne's face, and then Nick Aldis made a match between the two of them tonight. Then we had Kit Wilson walk in complaining about Matt Cardona to Aldis, ironically after Chelsea Green was just talking to him. Backstage, Byron Saxton. We saw a lot of Byron Saxton interviews tonight. No Kathy Kelly. I wanted to say Kathy. We got too much Byron. Jackie usually does Raw, but for tonight it's all Byron. I don't know why. Anyway, he was interviewing Matt Cardona after he returned last week. He cut a promo and he said this. What he was saying was, if you follow him on social media, he makes this speech every year about how he had three options. One is to just be done and pack it up. Two, and be bitter or whatever. Two was to just live off the Zack Ryder name. And three is to reinvent himself. And, he gives this speech every year on social media after there's a bunch of WWE releases. And he had to do it tonight. I guess that's just going to be his gimmick now because I feel like I've heard him say this a million times. Anyway, he then walks over to Cody, who was standing there, and he tells him that he was coming for his title. So Matt Cardona wants to pursue the World Championship, and there you can really hear that this is going to be a Drew crowd in Berlin, and they're backing the European Drew McIntyre, and it was all pro Drew, and Cody was getting booed here. This is the most Cody's really ever gotten booed, maybe since SummerSlam. Not as bad as WrestleMania, probably since SummerSlam. We got a Wyatt 6 video promo, and then both teams make their entrance. That's the MFT and the Wyatt 6, and we get our 8-man tag match. Wyatt 6, Bo Dallas, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, and Dexter Lumis with Nikki Cross in their corner against the MFTs. Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Tala Tonga. Poor JC Mateo couldn't get in ahead of Tonga Loa. Man, he really hasn't done much. He's not done well. Jeff Cobb, I thought he could do better. I mean, it's too bad. In this match, I'll be honest, I really wasn't that into it. I don't care that much. Crowd was actually into it, but I couldn't get into it. Solo grabbed the lantern and distracts Uncle Howdy, and then the MFTs get the win. Then Solo and the MFT crew left with the lantern. So unfortunately, this fucking feud is going to continue. Carmelo Hayes was talking to The Miz backstage. There's going to be a future title match. Then Ilya was offered, he was offered a challenge by Carmelo, but he rejects. He does it respectfully. Then he talks to Aldis about something else. I think Ilya should turn heel, and maybe he'll win the belt back from Carmelo after he turns heel. Chelsea Green was out next with Alba Fire. Then we got an Oba Femi video package. Then Jordynne Grace was out next after the break, and we get Jordynne Grace taking on Alba Fire. Jordynne just smashes Alba Fire. She crushes her. Chelsea Green tries to interfere, then Jordynne just throws Alba into Chelsea, knocking her off the ring apron. Then Jordynne hit the beast mode and pinned Alba Fire, just destroyed her. She gets the win here in her debut. Then as Jordynne Grace is walking to the back, Jade Cargill comes out and she circles Jordynne, stares her down, and then she cuts a promo in her face and she says, she's that bitch, what she always says. I guess that could be a feud for Jade, but I don't think she's had a title defense since she beat Tiffy on that Saturday Night's Main Event in November. I don't think she's even defended her belt yet. And speaking of Tiffany, so I don't know when she's coming back. I guess she should make her return at the Rumble. That would make sense. Backstage, another fucking segment backstage. Oh my god. Anyway, Byron Saxton interviewed Sami Zayn. He talked about Cody and Drew. He picked Cody to win. Fans are booing Cody whenever his name was mentioned. We see Drew sitting in the back. Carmelo Hayes comes out next. Then we go, after a break, we go backstage. Fraxium are backstage. And I was wishing they'd be featured more with the 3 hours, but that hasn't really worked out much because we have the stupid MFTs and Wyatt 6 feuding over the titles. Anyway, they're talking about Johnny Gargano, not Tommaso Ciampa, by the way, since he's leaving. And I talked about that on my Raw review. I'll just mention it again briefly. It's too bad. I really like Tommaso Ciampa. I've always enjoyed his work. He's an all-time legend in NXT, one of the greatest stars ever in NXT. Him and Johnny Gargano, you can make a case that they're 1 and 2, what they were able to accomplish in NXT, and they carried that brand for a couple of years. And it's he really hasn't done much on the main roster. I think he hit his ceiling with Johnny Gargano and DIY. Really didn't get over that much. I'm not sure really where else he can go. And Ciampa's had a lot of injuries, so I'm not sure if he's done permanently in WWE. Maybe he's taking time off, but from what it seems like, that he's probably leaving the company. He might go to the competition. I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you, Tommaso Ciampa. A hell of a run he had. And his heel turn on Johnny Gargano will be so... I'll never forget that at that NXT TakeOver show in Chicago. And then they had that incredible rivalry. And if this is it, and he's done in WWE, thank you, Ciampa. But going back, Johnny Gargano was wearing the Axiom mask, and he attacked Nathan Frazier, and Frazier thought he was talking to Axiom because it was Johnny in the mask, and then Candice LeRae appeared, and then she's with her husband as he's attacking Axiom. Then Nathan Frazier runs in, he runs off Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, and he comes to, Axiom came to Frazier's aid, and Frazier was jumped by Gargano. So Shinsuke Nakamura comes out, and he answers the United States Championship Open Challenge, and we get a U.S. title match. Carmelo Hayes defending his title against Shinsuke Nakamura. One thing I've noticed, I've kind of observed about the German crowd, is it's not as loud as the British crowd, and it's certainly not as loud as the French crowd. It's still a good crowd. It's better than like 90% of American crowds, to be honest, but it's not as hot as the other European crowds. So they were having a good match, but I was just waiting for the main event. They were put in the death spot. They should have opened the show. Would have worked so much better. They would have gotten so much more heat, especially with Nakamura coming out. But I mean, they really didn't have much because everyone's just waiting for the main event right now. Melo hit a nothing but net to retain the championship. After the match, they shook hands and embraced, and they had a good title match, but with Melo retaining. Then we see Cody backstage. Byron Saxton interviewed him before the main event. Not much here. He really didn't say much. We got a Nick Aldis video promo where he announced that next week there will be 4 qualifying matches to set up a Fatal 4-Way match at Saturday Night's Main Events. The winner will face the champion at the Royal Rumble. And then they preview next week's show in London, and they announced the 4 qualifying matches for next week. And then we get a video package for the 3 stages of hell. Alicia Taylor explains the rules at ringside. Then Drew McIntyre makes his entrance. And then Cody Rhodes makes his entrance to mostly boos. And we get our main events, what we've all been waiting for, this match. The undisputed WWE Championship on the line. Cody Rhodes defends his title against Drew McIntyre in a 3 stages of hell match. The first stage was a wrestling match. Second stage was a Falls Count Anywhere match, and the third stage was a steel cage match. So first, in the wrestling match, Drew McIntyre removes the turnbuckle pad, and that distracts the referee. And then Drew hits a low blow with the ref's back turned, and then he hits a Claymore kick to pin Cody Rhodes fairly early in the singles match. So this didn't really last long. It felt less than 5 minutes, to be honest. I didn't look at the official runtime, but it felt quick. And then we go to the Falls Count Anywhere match. Drew immediately brings out a table from under the ring, and he powerbombs Cody Rhodes through the table, pins him to win the title quickly, but Cody kicks out. Then they go into the crowd, and they brawl there for a while. Then they fought backstage briefly. I thought they might go outside, but going in the Berlin Colt wasn't the best idea, certainly. But they did fight backstage. They threw each other into the garage and stuff. And then they go back into the crowd, and Cody, there's a table set up. Cody puts Drew on the table. He goes up the stairs into the crowd, and and there's a balcony there. And Cody jumps off the balcony, hitting a splash onto Drew McIntyre, driving him through the table. He pins him. I thought this was going to be it. He's going to win here, the second fall, but Drew actually kicks out. So eventually they fight back into the ring area, so they're out of the crowd here, and then they go onto the announce booth eventually, and that's where Cody Rhodes hits a crossroads onto Drew McIntyre, driving him through the announce booth, and then he pins Drew. 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes wins the Falls Count Anywhere match, and this set up the third and final fall, the steel cage match. They're both in the ring, and the cage lowers down, and here it is, the main event, the third fall 1-to-1 steel cage. They start off by throwing each other into the cage, both guys taking bumps into the cage. Drew hit a superplex from the ropes. It wasn't on top of the cage, but like Cody's legs were on the cage. Drew was on the rope, so it's kind of a superplex with the cage. There was actually this amazing transition in which Cody hit the crossroads, but Drew kicks out. Cody actually had his scalp cut, and the ref had the gloves. I have to say, this match needed some blood. If this had blood, this would have been an all-time match. They needed blood in the cage. Not the first two falls, but the cage part. They really needed blood here. There should have been some. I'm not sure it needed to be as bloody as the CM Punk Drew McIntyre Hell in a Cell match from Bad Blood, but this needed some blood here. I think this was sorely missing. Otherwise, it was still a great match. After that, Cody actually kicked out of a Claymore. Cody was hit the crossroads twice, actually, and he was doing the chain crossroads that he only really ever does for WrestleMania. He hit the first crossroads, held on, hit a second one, but then Drew raked him in the eyes. Drew then hit the Claymore, but Cody kicked out. Later, they're both fighting on the ropes, I think, on the cage. No, actually, this was before, actually. I think they actually... I'm trying to remember. I think they were actually on top of the cage. Both guys were on top of the cage and sitting on top, hitting each other. Eventually, they're down, and I think that's when Cody hit the Cody cutter from the top of the cage. You know, I would have liked this spot a lot more if I hadn't seen it on some clips on social media, because they've actually been having cage matches at house shows. But Cody hit the Cody cutter. Looked great, and Drew kind of collapsed down. I thought, oh, did he like hurt his knee or something, the way it looked? It was a great spot, but Drew kicks out of the super Cody cutter. Then they ram each other's heads into the cage as they're both on the top rope. Then both guys fall on the top rope, and we get a double low blow spot. That was a cool spot. I've seen that spot a lot in the past. I just like seeing it. And then Drew's about to get out. He's about to escape through the cage door. Neither guy climbed the cage, but he was going to escape through the cage door. That's when Jacob Fatu arrives, and we see him. And like he's like dressed, he has a hoodie, he's in disguise. I'm surprised. I thought they might have had trouble getting him out of the country, but he reveals himself. It's Jacob, and I thought, oh great, this is how Cody's going to retain. He starts attacking Drew McIntyre as he's trying to escape the cage. Then Jacob Fatu flips, so he starts attacking Cody, and as he's attacking Cody, Drew then crawls out of the cage door. So as he's attacking Cody, Cody's out, Jacob Fatu's attacking him. Drew McIntyre escapes out of the cage door, and he wins. He's out of the cage, and he wins the championship. Drew McIntyre wins 3 stages of hell. Look, I thought this was a lame finish to otherwise what I thought was a great match. Especially, I loved it when they were in the cage. I thought that was great. And before that, it was good. But I thought, it's kind of a lame finish. I kind of would have just preferred Drew to just escape. I don't mind him not pinning Cody twice, because he did pin Cody once. So I don't mind him escaping to win. And, cage match, historically, you escape to win. That's fine. I just wasn't the biggest fan of him just getting out of the cage door like that. But he did escape, and he won the match. Drew McIntyre wins. He is the new champion. He's holding the belt. He's like crawling away on the ramp, and then Fatu is pissed off. He doesn't know what happened, and Cody comes from behind Jacob Fatu, and he drives him into the cage. So I guess that's going to be a feud for Cody, but he's no longer the champion. He's lost the belt. Drew McIntyre is officially the undisputed WWE champion to close out SmackDown, and he wins 3 stages of hell. Drew McIntyre is a champion. He finally didn't get screwed out of the belt. They finally put the belt on him. It's been a while. He's the champion again, and I'm glad to see it. So Drew McIntyre is officially the undisputed WWE champion.